Hi there. We're Six and Vic, a pair of twins living in one body. Kinda like conjoined twins, but with exactly half of everything. Or maybe a chimera split down the center. Basically a mythical creature either way. It's whatever. You'll get used to it. But that's not important. What is important is we have a model for analyzing sanity and insanity to share with you. I'm alive. Therefore I value life. Therefore I value longevity. Therefore I value health. Therefore I value comfort. Therefore I value dignity. Therefore I value happiness. I am alive, and so I want you to be happy. And in this, I know I am sane. This is our model for sanity. Story time. During the 20 years while we had a slowly worsening disease that randomly wiped our memories every few hours, we experienced a phenomenon called ego death about 100,000 times. And as we began to realize that our memories and personalities were inconsistent day to day, we began to have serious doubts about our own sanity. And so we developed and redeveloped and redeveloped and redeveloped our own model for analyzing our sanity. We include this model in the Zandarian lexicon, a set of definitions and concepts that we are developing for perceiving and communicating ideas about existence in a more clear, consistent, and complete way. We want to bridge communication gaps between sciences, spirituality, and philosophy. On that note, we reject the classical model for insanity, to repeat an action and expect a different result. And that's because the universe is continually changing. No two events and no two actions could ever be identical. If you repeat the same action as the environment changes, the outcome of that action could very well be different. Keep in mind that the people around you are a part of that environment. And so if someone witnesses you repeating an action and decides to either help or hinder your action, then the result will certainly change. In fact, if we apply this concept to a community environment, it would be far less logical for the repeated action to always yield the same result. So we reject that definition for insanity. Additionally, the DSM-5 and other modern mental knowledge sources are all primarily focused on corporate productivity and conformity with capitalism as a basis for typicality. This is paradoxical in a way that we will have to make a whole other video to properly explore. Now, instead of either of those models, we will present a model focused on the functionality of continued life as a basis for sanity of living beings. Now, if a living being devalues life, the only way to demonstrate that value in earnest would be to end their own life. But this doesn't really happen. Which means if a living being disrespects life, it is a form of dissociation between their own experience and how they perceive the experiences of others. In other words, they fail to recognize that they are part of the interconnected web of life. They fail to recognize that other lives, others' pain and suffering, are real. And so they experience no connection, no social responsibility to respect the lives of others. If this mindset were adopted by every living being, life would immediately cease to exist. That's because to devalue life while living a life is a paradoxical philosophy. Paradoxes collapse when applied to reality. They can only exist in imagination and concept. When that paradoxical imagination then influences a living mind to make choices, we observe the collapse of that life form and the eventual extinction of those who hold on to that paradox as it collapses. This is how we define paradoxical philosophies and insanity at the base level. Next, we will provide a more in-depth model with 6 essential stages of defining and analyzing sane thought for yourself and your environment. For the purpose of this model, value is what you do for yourself. Respect is what you do for others. Life. I value life not as a choice, but as an observation. Story time. While we were losing memories every few hours, there was one thing that we noticed every time. We're still alive, despite having the capability to be otherwise. This is what led us to this model in the first place. To value life is to choose to survive. To respect life is to choose to allow others to survive. To fail to respect or value life is to experience an insane thought. Longevity. This goes hand in hand with life. If I value something, then I want to retain it and not lose it. With long life comes more stories, more wisdom, more connections, more to share, and more opportunities to create something new. To value longevity is to choose to continue living until the world makes you stop. To respect longevity is to choose to allow those around you to continue living until they pass away naturally. To fail to respect or value longevity is to experience an insane thought. Health. The next logical essential value is health. Without a healthy mind, body, and community, longevity is directly diminished. To value health is to choose actions that support your health and long life whenever those actions are available. To respect health is to choose to cultivate and support an environment wherein actions that support the health and long life of those around you are available and easy to choose. To fail to respect or value health is to experience an insane thought. Comfort. After health comes comfort. If you are in pain or discomfort, it is an indicator of a negative impact on health. This applies to physical comfort as well as emotional, mental, and social comfort. To value comfort is to choose to find and cultivate an environment where pain, anxiety, and threats to your well-being are minimized. To respect comfort is to choose to cultivate an environment where pain, anxiety, and threats to the well-being of others are easily avoidable and clearly observable if present. Dignity. Next, to support comfort, one of the most important factors is dignity. Now, dignity is a bit of a vague term in modern common language, so we will provide a bit more detail for our definitions. When we talk about dignity, we focus on the concept of self-determination. In other words, the freedom and ability to determine what one does with their own time, with their own mind, with their own energy, and with their own body. This does not include the freedom of one to inflict harm or enforce their will onto others. It also does not include lying. In short, valuing dignity does not involve the disrespecting of the dignity of others. Because this has been a difficult concept for individuals we have encountered and observed, we will provide an example in this video instead of waiting until the next one. The freedom of speech does not guarantee an audience. Having the right of free expression is not the same as having the right to force people to listen to you or watch you. An individual being removed from a platform is not censorship. The community provides the platform, and the community can take the platform away. Censorship is when a topic, artwork, or concept is removed from public observation by an authority and denied from being observed. Wrongful censorship does happen, but it is not the same as being denied an audience. Being denied an audience is not a disrespect to your dignity. A lack of acceptance from others does not diminish your self-determination. On the contrary, forcing others to listen to you or to follow your commands is a disrespect to their self-determination of time, mind, energy, and body. To value dignity is to choose to spend your time and energy acting on your own wisdom, knowledge, values, and experiences over the influences and opinions expressed by others. To respect dignity is to choose to allow others to determine what they do with their own time, mind, energy, and body. To fail to respect or value dignity is to experience an insane thought. Finally, happiness. In short, while valuing and respecting the other stages, happiness is seeking and discovering things that bring joy and satisfaction. To value happiness is to choose to seek your joy and satisfaction with life. To respect happiness is to choose to allow others to seek their joy and satisfaction with life. To fail to respect or value happiness is to experience an insane thought. This concludes the basic Zandarian model for sanity. Note that we said that failing to respect or value a certain thing is to experience an insane thought. It is not to define you as being insane. Just like emotions and depression, insane thoughts or paradoxical ideas can come and go. Also note that in each definition we presented, we included the words to choose. Remember that what happens automatically or habitually in your brain is not a reflection of who you are as a person. It is what you choose that determines your functional impact on your life and the lives of those around you. The automatic and habitual functions of your brain reflect the events that you have lived through. Now, with our model, you could be living with a mental disorder or a neural atypicality and still be perfectly sane. It's a matter of choice. Value life while you're alive. Choose love over hate. In this video, we presented the Zandarian model for sanity. We presented it as clearly and concisely as we could. In future videos, we will explore the 6 stages of sanity in more depth, with examples of application and personal experiences. We will also explore the concepts involved in analyzing severity of insanity and hate with regard to this model. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more, go ahead and like and subscribe. Until next time, take care and make good choices.